Shalom, shalom, Israel's brothers of Abba Allah coming back at you with another cold cut. I would like to give our praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. I would like to give double honors to the men out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth and honesty and sincerity. The mighty Aquath, right? Ruling over their children well, being submissive unto their husbands, right? And enduring and being like our mighty foremothers in this thing. And the mighty children out there keeping the commandments and abiding in their parents' households as well. Shalom, shalom. Right? Today we're going to go over examining yourself, man. We too late in the game to be slipping up. You got a lot of people falling out the truth in these last days, especially around this time, around winter time, man. When brothers don't want to go out there and labor, right? Sisters started getting irritated, started bucking up against their husbands. Next thing you know, they out this thing, man. Next thing you know, the fringes are in the garbage can and they back into the world by December, man. Right? So it's keeping on that spiritual garment, man, that you put on in the first place, man, and not taking that off. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5. All right. This is the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and 5. Examine yourselves whether you be in the faith. So you got to examine whether you be in the faith. Just because you say you're in the faith doesn't mean that you're in the faith, man. You got to examine yourself diligently. When you examine something, scientists, they examine things, man. They examine lab reports, DNA testing. They kind of look into the notes, right? They go into the computer and they start typing up something, right? And they printing out something, and then they kind of adjust their glasses and they're looking at it again. That's an examination, right? Making sure you didn't F up somewhere, man, right? Hey, guess what? You got to examine yourself. You got to make sure that your spirit is not effed up, man. Right? You got to make sure that your spirit is right in these last days, because the Lord is coming back very quickly. If you're not watching, man, you're not seeing what's going on, it's going to be a wrap, man. If your garment out of order and you're not checking up on that garment, you're not watching over different brothers and not bearing their burdens, you're not praying for different brothers or laboring, right? You're not doing these different things, taking notes, study. Guess what, man? Right? Hey, the Lord going to come back and he's going to destroy all those in strange apparel. All right, let's go to Zechariah 1 and 15. All right, we're going to go back to 2 Corinthians 13, but let's go to Zephaniah 1 and 15. It's Zephaniah 1 and 15. Shalakia. Zechariah 1 and 15. It's Zechariah 1 and 15. And it says, bear with me. Shalaka, bear with me. I got to get this. Oh, there you go. Zephaniah 1 and 8. And it shall come to pass in the day of the Lord's sacrifice, right, that I will punish the princes and the king's children, right? So the Most High is coming back with punishment. He's coming back very swiftly. Just look at the prophecies. But what else is he going to do when he comes back? Right? And it says, and all such as are clothed with strange apparel. So if you have strange garments on, and that's just not talking about your physical apparel, right? If you don't got the fringes on, right? But guess what? If you don't got your spiritual garment on, if that garment at all white, if that's not a recognizable garment to the Lord for a wedding day, you're going to die. You're going to be put to death, man. It's going to be a wrap, because the Lord's not going to recognize that, so he's going to think you're an enemy, right? He's going to think you're an op, right? Just off default, and you're going to die, man, right? So, hey, guess what, man? You got to examine the garment that you got on so that the Lord doesn't not an accident, because it's not an accident if the Lord destroys you, right? But you want to examine your damn garment just to make sure the Lord don't kill you, man. And guess what? You ain't slipping and you put on that strange apparel on accident, right? I'm going to Ecclesiastes 9 and 8. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 8. Let thy garments be always white. So you got to let your garments be always white, right? You got to make sure your spirit is always white. It's intact. It's good, right? That you're being able to just stray away from against the wiles of the devil, right? And it says, Shalaki, and it says, and let thy head lack no ointment, meaning don't let your your knowledge and wisdom be deceased, man. You want that ointment to always be there. You want that understanding to always be there, man. You want to be anointed with that oil, with that understanding, right? So you got to let your garments be always white, man, right? And examine yourself on a daily basis and make sure that you're walking in a new light every day. All right, you go to Colossians. This is the book of Colossians, chapter 2. It's like Colossians chapter 3 and verse 9. Lie not one to another, seeing that you have put off the old man with his deeds. So you don't want to, of course, lie to your brother and lie to your sisters, but the point is you want to put off the old man with his deeds. The old man with his deeds is to cause you to keep that garment white. It's going to cause you, all right, to continue to examine yourself, whether you be in this thing or not. Because we in the last milliseconds in this thing, man. It's crunch time, man. There's no time to play around with the Lord, man. All right? You see what's going on in this earth, man. If you can't feel the spirit of war in this area, all right, or on this earth, man, if you can't feel these things, the tension rising, right, then guess what, man? You're not watching. Right, you're just gonna be caught out there because you gotta be able to feel it, man. And you say, you know what? I gotta make sure I'm 10 times as diligent. Right? If you can't feel Satan running more rampant, right? Satan increasing his workload, you gotta increase your workload and always examine yourself. Right? And it says, verse 10, and have put on the new man, which is renewed in knowledge after the image of him that have created him. So you want to be put on that new man, which is renewed in the knowledge, man, of the Lord, right? You putting on that new man, now you're putting on that new anointing, that understanding of him, or of who? Or Yahushua Mashiach, man, right? And the Lord, and it says, and renewed in knowledge after the image of him that have created him, man. So that's ultimately what you want to do. Right, I'm going to 1 Corinthians. Right, this is 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 18. Let me start at verse 16. For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day. So your spirit is renewed day by day when you always examine yourself. Right? Your spirit is renewed day by day when you're always looking at the things you can get better at, man, to help the ministry, right? To help yourself grow. But even though the outward man is going to perish, your body going to go back to that dust. Your spirit is the one that's going to be judged in that day, man. So you want to make sure your spiritual garment is all set, all right? You want to make sure your spiritual garment is good, man, for that day, man. Right? And understanding, like I said, always watching and always making sure, okay, this is happening, so these prophecies is happening, right? Earthquakes is going on every day, right? You have rumors of war every single day. Things, the Most High is bringing his judgment to light every single day. And it tells you that in the book of Zechariah, man. Zephaniah, Shalaki. Right? The Most High is bringing his judgment to light every day. So we got to do our jobs as soldiers and aquafs to make sure that we're doing our jobs to watch over our garments in the flock. Right? Let's go to Ezekiel. Shalaki, let's go to Zechariah 11. Right? And part of your garment and part of, right, your works is watching over other people, man. You don't gotta always worry about yourself and how you gonna make it or not. You came in this thing to see your people make it, man. We came in this thing because our people was at the bottom, not because we was at the bottom. Now we gonna get the king. No, it's about your nation. All right, it's your nation. It's Zechariah 11. Right, and 17. It's Zechariah 11 and 17. Woe to the idle shepherd that leaveth the flock. So the Lord said, destruction unto that man or woman, right? Most likely that man that was sent to lead people, man. Their souls are in your hand, but guess what? You was idle. You weren't busy. You were just doing you. You were doing your own thing. You were just out there. But the Lord said, destruction to that idle shepherd, man. That leaveth the flock, right? The sword shall be upon his arm, and upon his right eye. His arm shall be clean dried up, and his right eye shall be utterly dark. I mean, the Most High is going to put darkness in your path, and now you're going to be blind, man. And now you're going to be, there you go, back into the world, man. That brother's blood or that sister's blood going to be on your hands because you wasn't watching. You wasn't examining yourself. Hey, Yahushua, didn't Yahushua tell Peter that there was a demon on him, right? Didn't Yahushua tell Peter, he warned Peter, man, because he was watching out for, that's a work, man. That's watching out for your brothers. That's being your brother's keeper, right? You got to be your brother's keeper, man, right? Let me get another one. Right? It's Matthew chapter 16. Because, hey, guess what? The Lord was watching. Part of examining is, hey, you don't have to wait until Satan attacks you, man. You can attack Satan before you can attack you, right? Part of watching is, hey, you gotta pray constantly, right? Maybe throw up a video. Hey, you gotta attack Satan before he attack you. Meaning you gotta be able to see the adversary, man. You gotta be able to see your enemies. Aren't we at war? Right? Let me go to Proverbs 22 and 3 before I get that. We got to be at war. You got to be able to see the enemy attacking. Satan is going hard for you not to get the kingdom. That's his job. And you're trying your hardest to get the kingdom. Right? Satan is doing everything in his power. He comes through anything. Your dog, your cat, your woman, your man. But guess what? You got to play. Hey, you got to go. You got to do the same thing as well. You got to gird yourself up, man. Attack Satan in this thing. You don't always got to play defense, man. Right? This Proverbs, right? Chapter 22 and 3. Right, and it says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil. You have to be able to foresee Satan. That's the only way you're really gonna be effective in this thing, man. And not always falling out the spirit, right? Not letting Satan beguile you. Guess what, man? You got to be able to see that thing. And it says, for a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. But the simple, right? Those that are not, what they say, have street smarts, right? They're gonna go, hey, they're gonna pass on every time, and eat, and they don't get eaten by that devouring lion, man. As it says, 1 Peter 5 and 8. That roaring lion gonna devour that simple man, right? No mercy. But you gotta be wise, right? You gotta be. I'm going to Matthew 10 and 16, and it says, behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So if you're in the sheep in the midst of your enemies, guess what? You got to be super circumspect. How much more super circumspect in these last days, knowing that these judgments are falling upon our people, knowing that the Most High is killing our people through his sword, which is Esau, the wicked, right? Knowing, hey, these judgments are happening to us, guess what? How much more circumspect shall we be in these last days, man? Right? How much watching should we really be doing in these last days, man? Right? Because we understand something. We'll go to 1 Peter 4 and 7. If you didn't understand this, then, hey, right? It's 1 Peter chapter 4 and 17. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of God. So where's the house of God? The house of God is Israel. Judgment is starting with our people. All right, that's the first and foremost the judgment is starting with, man. Right, and guess what? And it says, and if it begin at us, Shalakia, and if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of the Most High? So if we're going to get jacked up, right, in the right, if we're going to get jacked up for serving the Most High, guess what? What is the end of those that's going to be that have not served the Most High, that thought they were serving the Most High until they took a look at their garment? And that the only time brothers and sisters ever think about their garment is going to be in that day. They're not going to think about that spiritual garment that last day, man, when the Lord said, okay, right, now to declare your works, and now it's going to be like, oh, I forgot about that, right? Hey, guess what, man? Right? The judgment is going to start with the house of Israel first, right? It's a warning. And it says, and if the righteous scarcely be saved. So you have righteous men that will barely be saved. Ezra will be back on the earth. The Lord said he's getting the kingdom. But guess what? And back in his life, he barely going to be saved, man. You got a lot of our forefathers back on the earth, but they can barely be saved by the skin of their teeth. How much more you, man? How much more you enduring in this thing, man? You don't know who you are back on the earth. You can be just some simple man, right? 1/3 man. And you will barely be saved, man, right? Depending on your faith, right? And it says, 1 Peter 4 and 17, And 18, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? I mean, they ain't going to appear nowhere before the Lord. All right, Job 13 and 15. Right there in 16. And it says, wherefore let them that suffer according to the will of God commit the keeping of their souls to him in well-doing as unto a faithful creator. All right, so judgment is starting at the house of the Most High first. So how much more, like I said, right, should you be getting your spirit in order in these last days, man? All right, so this was a quick cold cut. Just going into examining yourself in these last days. Let me get one more precept. You brothers, y'all gotta watch, man. Stop watching the comment boards, the live streams on Facebook, right? And start watching the prophecies, man. Right? Doing breakdowns on other brothers' doctrines, and right, you all on the social media talking about this and that camp and this, but you don't go out and teach, you don't go out and watch, you don't declare any prophecies. Right? You're not conversing in the scriptures. You just talk about niggerdom all day. Right? This is Luke 21 and 36. Let's start at verse 34. This whole thing is good. And take heed to yourselves. The very first thing the Lord said was watch over yourself. Be careful of yourself. Take heed to yourself, lest at any times your hearts, which is your minds, is overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness in the cares of this life. So the Lord said, be very careful. Because you may think you're watching, but your mind is really overran with the access and the drunkenness and the cares of this world. Babylon, great, right? The internet, the celebrities, a lot going on at one time. Your shows, favorite shows coming on tonight. Your job just gave you a bonus, right? Your girl just, your man, just, took you out to eat, right? And you kind of getting caught up in the lifestyle and the moments. You think America's going to be here for 20 more years, but it's not, Mom, right? It's not.